Hey everyone, this is Bad Wolf Girl with FTO bringing you the review for The Walking Dead, issue number 1 from volume number 1, Days Gone By. If you've watched The Walking Dead, the TV show, and compare it to issue number 1 of The Walking Dead, you've pretty much read the comic already if you've watched the show, because the comparison to the show and the comic book are pretty much hand in hand, with a couple of differences, like the fact that Morgan is a lot kinder to Rick in the comic book than he is in the TV show. In the TV show, Morgan is a lot more aggressive than he is in the comic book, and in the comic book he doesn't tie down Rick to his bed. He doesn't give him this whole speech where, if you pull anything, I'll kill you, blah blah. The comic book starts off with Rick waking up in the hospital from being in a coma. He gets shot while on duty, and he goes back to his old neighborhood looking for Lori and Carl, and he instead runs into Morgan and his son. And his son actually does hit him with a shovel over the head, which effectively knocks him out. And he does wake up in, his neighbor's house, which Morgan and his son Dwayne have now occupied because they didn't make it out to Atlanta, to that refugee center that, we all heard about in the TV show. So Morgan goes on to explain, things were happening. He hasn't heard anything on, the news because of the fact that everything that happened, the radio, TV, all information on the internet just effectively stopped working because of what we all know as the readers is to be the zombie apocalypse. And so Rick, doesn't quite understand. He's still a very in a sense happy-go-lucky kind of guy. He still has hope that everything is going to come back to normal once things get straightened out. He still has hope. He's hoping that he will find his family and all of that and whatnot. So the first issue is just pretty much an introductory of what the world is like now, in a sense, through Rick's eyes, and also through Morgan's eyes. And Morgan is also very hopeful that things will go back to normal at some point. So, Rick takes Morgan off to the police station, and he gives him, all the supplies that he needs to get by in the meantime, while Rick actually gathers up his supplies to go out looking for Carl and Lori out in Atlanta, which is where his in-laws' house, because he's hopeful that Lori and Carl will be there out in Atlanta with his in-laws. So he sets off on this journey. Like in the TV show, Rick comes across the Bicycle Girl, which became very famous for being one of the key zombies in the TV show for the first season. So in the book, she's also one of the key zombies that is shown in the comic book. And so Rick effectively comes back after meeting Morgan and Dwayne and getting himself situated to go back to, go on his trip out to Atlanta. He goes back to look for the Bicycle Girl, and she's still in the same spot that he had found her in the comic book, and he takes care of her like he does in the TV show. And when he kills the Bicycle Girl, that's actually the end of the first issue. So that, when I first read it, really, really got to me that, he's such a hopeful person in his character, and, things have gone so tragically wrong in this world that he wakes up in. And, he's just now a guy trying to find his wife and son and, you know, trying to figure out what to do in this new world that everybody's been thrown into. So everybody who knows me always knows that zombies have always been a great passion of mine. I'm very passionate about my zombie stories. So it's only obvious that I would be a big fan of the TV show, and I've been a big fan of the comic book for many years, even before the TV show started. So I hope that going on with this, you guys enjoy my reviews of the comics, and I hope that I can bring you some light as to where the TV show is going as opposed to the direction in the comic books, because a lot of the TV show gets a lot of the inspiration from the comic book, but it doesn't really follow the storyline of the comic book to a T. There are a lot of characters that are introduced to us in the TV show that aren't necessarily introduced to us in the comic books. So hopefully I can shed some light and bring you more understanding of how the storyline goes as opposed to the TV show. I know the TV show gets a lot of lack for being uninteresting or not having enough zombie killing, but I just want to put this out there. The TV show and the book are very much character driven. I know for a point there in season 2, which is something that I will discuss ahead in the future as I get there with the storyline within the book, is that they take too much time in looking for Sophia and, you know, character development and all of this stuff, which is very boring to a lot of people. And I understand, because I'm very pro, you know, getting the blood and the guts and the gore out there. But we also have to understand, or at least that's how I take it, that we have to understand who the characters are themselves. You know, not just, here are some characters, here's the situation, and we're going to move on from that. And so I do side a lot of the times with people who argue about the fact that character development is too slow, or, you know, this is getting off track to what the original storyline should be, or, you know, a lot of things. And, you know, I can side with people who bash the show sometimes, but, you know, also bashing the show and the comic book just for bashing's sake is something that I don't like to do. So hopefully that I, you know, with these reviews, I can help clarify some of the things that people talk about, and also help you understand what the comic book is all about. So thank you for listening. Hopefully you guys can tune in next time for issue number 2 of The Walking Dead, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you guys. Bye.